Hi, this is Glenn Gordon. This is the next in my series of videos featuring the TimberTiger STL build. Today I'm talking about the elevator trim tabs. The original Ryan STA had on each elevator a trim tab very similar to what we're going to look at the construction on today. If you ever saw that TimberTiger STL prototype at Oshkosh, you'll notice something different about it. And that prototype did not have these trim tabs on it. The original airplane had a spring bias elevator trim system. And after the test pilot flew it, and after I got to fly the aircraft and talking with TimberTiger Aircraft, it was decided that we're going to move away from the simplicity of the spring bias system and go back to what Ryan originally did with the elevator trim. So that's what I've got here. This is the the sheet out of the plan set for the construction of the elevator trim tab. I've got one constructed and one in process so far. Here it is. It's constructed so that it attaches to a channel will attach with blind rivets to a channel that's at the back of the elevator, and that elevator does have a notch in it, so these trailing edges will nicely line up once it's installed. The trim tab is constructed with basically two shell halves that form that create the elevator trim tab, and then attached to that along the length of the leading edge is a strip of piano hinge. This is just a rolled standard MS piano hinge, and then there are a couple of brackets that will, once they're constructed, this one is still pretty much in the rough right now. Once they're constructed, will form the control arm, as you can see on this one. And they're doubled up, so you take a lot of strength, get a lot of strength from this one point that is then transferred and distributed to these skins, which by themselves wouldn't be very strong, but by the time it's all riveted together, we have a very robust little trim tab here. One interesting thing about this is a challenge in building it properly, and what I mean by that is it has to be built straight. We don't want it wavy. We want it perfectly straight, and we don't want it. It could be straight, but it could also have a twist in it, and you can still sight down it, and you might think it's straight. It won't necessarily be, and it won't blend in with the contours of the elevator skin if it's not built straight. So on the one that's in construction, I am doing my initial drilling on a flat board here, and I'm clecoing through both skins to the board to ensure that the top surface is flat and true. Later on, I'll pick up these holes here that'll pick up the elevator geometry, and it'll tuck under something like that, and it all gets riveted together once all these control arms are done. One thing to note here on the plans, and this is a very subtle detail that has to be caught, is that you'll notice that most of the rivets that we're doing on this airplane are 1/8 inch rivets. Here's an exception. These are number 3 size rivets, and specifically though, after the AN 470 denoting a button head rivet, there's alpha, letter A suffix. And what that's saying is this is a soft rivet. It's almost effortless to squeeze. But what that means is that as we bring those rivets in here and squeeze them, they're not going to be distorting the metal a lot. And so that the base metals that they're fastening together. And so every time I put a rivet in, I get it down true, make sure everything's going out of alignment, that I'm not working a twist into it, because once we start actually riveting this, you can't do it on the flat surface anymore. And so it's a matter of squeezing a rivet, maybe making a little adjustment, and going for the next one. So we end up with a very, very straight part there. I'm not sure if that can be seen on the video, but it's very much worth noting that we want this as straight as possible. So that's what I have on the trim tab. I still have a second one to build, and then I'll have to get these located and mounted onto the elevators. I have a number of steps there to finish up before I get to my fuselage kit. I've got my wings over here, and I've got all my tail feathers up here, and ailerons here, and the whole project's moving along nicely, and I'm looking forward to getting going with the fuselage, and start putting some of this stuff together. So we'll see you at the next video.